Cameras is rolling, lights, camera, action, we gon' make movies. Cameras is rolling, lights, camera, action, we gon' make movies. Cameras is rolling, lights, camera, action, we gon' make movies. Cameras is rolling, lights, camera, action, we gon' make movies. Dirty.
And we're back, episode 2. We're live here at Jet Phoenix Film Studios. We're in the new renovated green room. You know what I mean? Welcome to the green room. It's a vibe, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a vibe in here. Got the trees, shout out to Jenny Lux for, with the palms and the trees and everything. But today's special. It's mad different because today we have our first guest. And this guy, he's not just a guest, he's part of the squad. I've known him for a very long time. I got so much respect for him. Talk about giving flowers and respect to someone who's been a dope creator for a long time. My guy, our guy, Mr. Benni Black.
Yes, sir.
What's goody?
Ooh, so our shoes to fill, baby.
I'm
feeling good, baby. I'm in here with the greats. I feel good, baby. You talking about it's special for y'all, special for me.
Yeah.
You're good soul,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Nah, I'm just here to bask in the creativeness of speaking with y'all. I've watched all your other episodes and seen how y'all really dived into a lot of different topics. So, just being able to sit with y'all and kind of do that whole tanking out loud is just an honor.
Yeah, we're happy to have you.
Yeah, totally. So Ben, tell us about yourself. What you do. Let the people know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here to listen. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here to catch a vibe.
Okay.
So.
Okay. One of the things I can say about who I am and what I am is just, to give you the smaller understanding of me, because I me, we rarely share a lot about ourselves, but I'll just say, a father, a person who tries to be a good friend to the people I've built relationships with. That is what I would say is the small short, but for the career that I've been able to build, not only starting off on my own, but then building with you two, right? Mm-hmm. Graphic designer, photographer, just all of the multimedia background. Kind of started in music, back in the day.
Yeah. This guy was a music man, you know what I'm saying? Benni Black, you know what I'm saying? No, hold on. Ben Jacobs.
Yeah.
Let's take it there, you know what I'm saying? Ben Jacobs, if y'all know.
But just happy to still be in this space, because there are many who came before us that no longer do it, right? Mm-hmm. And we've and I say we because of all the conversations we have had, we've been able to be a staple and still be here doing this. So that sums up, what I do and who I am, for the viewers who kind of want that quick synopsis of, just somebody who just loves to be around other creatives, someone who, who tries to think outside the box, as far as what Delaware should look like, what Delaware should be like, and that's another conversation that we've all had before too. Mm-hmm. And I always bring it home. We know a lot of cats who do the whole, I'm from Philly. There's cats who still do it to this day. Yeah, I'm from Philly. Yeah. I'm from this part of Jersey. I'm from here. I'm from Delaware.
Yeah.
Even with, and there's another thing I've seen people do, because they respect us, but they want us to feel like we're going to get more recognition when they're speaking for us. Oh yeah, they from Philly.
Yeah, no.
And I said, nah, I'm from Delaware.
Yeah. So tell me, how'd you get into being a creative? What inspired you in the beginning to start getting into graphics, for picking up the camera, all that?
Oh wow, okay. So so for the viewers, this is me speaking to the viewers. Y'all gonna probably think this is gonna be a crazy way to open this, but I did not like computers. I did not like graphics. I did not like websites. I didn't like any of that stuff in the beginning when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, I was a musician, played drums and piano, was going to school for visual arts, went to Cab Calloway. That was that was my major. And then I needed an elective and something else, but the school made it to where I could, use another class that they would pick for me, which became communication arts. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I got this computer stuff. I don't want to be here. Then I sat next to somebody, Jeremy, if you're still out there, Jeremy. Cool. Let me paint a picture of who this person was, because at the time, in period of time, early 2000s, it's going into the 2000s. When it comes down to it, we were probably not the type that you would see talking to each other. This was, rocker, wearing the overly bell-bottom jeans with the chain wallet, carrying a skateboard through the hallway and he's supposed to.
Yeah.
Some days have a red cone, orange cone that's supposed to be on the highway, and he got it in class. He's one of those types. And he sat next to me, and the teacher's talking, and he's on the computer just typing and typing. I'm like, what are you typing, dude? Like, I'm getting a little irritated. And he's like, oh, making a website. I'm like, what are you talking about, you making a website? And he's just typing and typing and typing. And then he saves the document, which was a text document, a notepad on the computer, saves it as a .html, double clicks it, and it's a full website.
Wow.
I was like, what is this sorcery? What just happened? Because all I saw was gibberish.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. Then he was like, let me show you something. And he started breaking it down. And that's what clicked in my mind. I'm like, it's not just about what you perceive things to be, it's what you can create. It's the narrative you can build behind it. Then I got into the computers and the graphics and stuff like that. To the point where my grandmother was like, yo, you can't be on the computer all day.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it was. I wouldn't go outside. I wouldn't play basketball. They bought me a basketball court, for the front of the crib, because the area we lived in wasn't really that good. They were nice neighbors, but it wasn't a good area. So she got me a basketball court outside. I wouldn't even go outside and play on that no more. I was at the computer. That's all I wanted to do. And then from there, fast forward a little bit, still trying to figure out what I want to do with my life and all of that. I ended up running into a lot of those Philly artists, right? The mixtapes and the Too Raw for the Streets and all of these things. And then it just happened to be one of my first clients. Like, my real first client was Cicero.
Right.
Cicero was my real first client. Was working with him, which was cool at the time. It was Cicero and Rico.
Okay.
So shout out to them. And from there, it turned into working with Young Hot. And then from there, it turned into getting an opportunity to do stuff with Meek Mill back before him getting on where he's at now.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah. So next I started making a name for myself in those areas a little bit. And then once again, they didn't know I was from Delaware because everything was through the computer.
Yeah.
Everything was done that way. But that's how I started building that way. And that's how I began. That's how I began. And it just started being word of mouth, because it wasn't a lot of graphic designers via the internet that was doing work for people in the tri-state. So that's how that began.
So let's talk about that, because I feel like a lot of people don't know like what you contribute to the hip hop community and the culture, the game, about. Because I know, working with Miami Chaos, making them covers and stuff like that. Like, shed a little light on working with Miami Chaos and your situation with him, and how, because people. Shout out to Miami Chaos, because a lot of people don't know about him. If the youngins right now, that's when he was one of the biggest mixtape cover designers.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody in the game went to Miami Chaos to get a cover, for sure. You know what I mean? Like, and my guy Benny was working along with it. So
that was one of the craziest moments in my life, because and most people would probably not remember him, as you said. It comes down to, he was doing illustration airbrush art in digital form before it was a thing.
Yeah. Now we got apps to do that in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Yeah.
And he was doing commission pieces for like the Source magazine. A lot of K Slay's old things. The classic like Stack Bundles and Pat Poose. I think he did some stuff for like D Block.
Yeah, I feel like he did everybody, Hove, everybody, anybody who had a mixtape at that time. Somebody wanted him. You seen the little logo at the bottom, Miami Chaos. He had, and that was one thing I always like appreciated about, because he made sure that people knew where it was coming from. Like, he just didn't give people the graphics. And then that's also how I saw you brand yourself when you did covers.
Yeah.
You know, when you were putting out, you know, your brand, Black Tag Media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and Black, that, you know, speak on that, you know, a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was funny because a lot of people always ask me, you know, why in almost every name that you've had or created for yourself as you were growing, you had Black. Because when I was in college, I went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia for a while. And even before then, when I was doing visual arts and drawing and using pens and pencil, it was always Black. Mm-hmm. I rarely used color. I didn't use color pencils and stuff like that. So that's where the Black comes from, because almost all the art that I sketched and drew was in Black. So, you know, when it came down to that, I had to incorporate that into who I was. And the person who inspired me to do that was Miami Chaos. Like, I give him a lot of credit for me moving the way that I started to, because he was teaching me the business before I even knew what that was. I was just a cat who was starting to get a little bit of a name. MySpace days.
Yeah.
I'm showing my
about
age
it
now.
Yeah.
You know, and making the MySpace pages and how you do all the design work,
layouts,
for music artists. Yeah, and just the way he did business and he moved was just in awe. Fun fact: shout out to Kurt McGirt.
Yeah, Kurt. Yeah.
I met him through Miami Chaos.
Yeah.
Didn't know that he was in Delaware too.
Yeah, Kurt. That was my guy, my boy Jason, who was managing me at that time. That was his little cousin. He was like, "Yo," it's like my little cousin make covers, and I was like, "All right, bet." And then really, that's how I met you, I think, because Kurt was like, "I can't do your cover, but my guy Ben can do a cover for you." And then I think that's how it got pushed over from Flavor. Somehow it's kind of blurry from them at that
that's
time.
How it happened. That's how
you know what I'm saying?
Really
like,
I do remember that. Man, that was them days.
Yeah,
some good days too. But that I do remember. That's how we became intertwined as far as the creative space and meeting each other and vibing. From that, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I
speak on anything
I remember P-Town. You know what I'm saying?
P-Town. Yeah, that was the artist.
Like I remember that project, bro. I still remember that. Just step right up. I still remember that project, man.
Yeah, I remember Summer Madness cover with the girl. The thing. I remember being at your house in your room and us cooking up them covers and like just trying to get it going and over. Also, I remember when you were recording a project over at Dead Presidents.
Yes,
at the bar because the studio was upstairs. Shout out to who ran that studio? That was
oh man, it's that one.
Oh man, that was it was John Connors and somebody else.
Yeah, it was another gentleman.
It was another gentleman. The white guy who rapped along with John.
Yeah.
You know, it was something like he made music too. I forget what his name was. You made his covers too.
But shout out to them.
Shout out to them. Shout out to John and all them guys. But fast forward a little bit, like, you know, you've worked with a lot of big brands. Let's get into that. You know, you've like the resume is
and partly thanks to you as well.
Oh, I mean, listen. I appreciate that, but listen, I got to give you your flowers because your resume of just the catalog of art, from artists to brands to, you know, product shooting to graphic designs. Like, you've always, you know, one thing I've admired about you, you always stayed, you know, looking forward. You had that forward thinking in your process of how you thought about what's next, even how you jumped into NFT graphic design and working with companies in that world. You know, a lot of graphic designers probably ain't even thinking about working with NFTs and, you know, and thinking that them guys need the branding too. Mm-hmm. So, you know, touch on a little bit of just, you know, the mindset that you have to approaching the forward thinking towards, like, like I said, it started with the covers. You were one of the first that I knew doing the covers. Yeah. When it came to like branding and us having conversations about branding, when I'm thinking about it, I didn't have to like say, hey, did you know about brand? No, you already knew the conversation. So that's why we were able to like connect and link because we were already on that forward thinking of branding and having a product. We always, I mean, anytime I've seen you work with clients, you would always push the narrative of like, yo,
think about your brand. Think about, this is more than a picture that I'm taking today, you know? Of
Yes.
Think about the clothes that you're wearing and how you representing the backdrop around you, you know? I don't want to get all crazy into it, but, you know, touch into like the mindset of where you got this from and why you think like this.
Well, let me put it this way too. I wanted to say this, and because it doesn't just pertain to me, it pertains to you and you as well. Even though we met a little bit later, we were on a wave before we even knew what a surfboard was.
For
right?
sure.
Let's use that analogy. We were doing things and thinking in certain ways, even for myself, thinking in certain ways that didn't make sense at that time frame. Right? It's like really dope movies that came out 15 years ago, but now are have this cult following where people go every year to see them and pay the same $25 to see a movie they could buy for $2 to rent, right? It's one of those things where that's our thought process was ahead of its time, in my opinion, when it comes down to it. So my thought process has always been controlling the narrative. One thing that I've always seen with creativity is, what do the people think? What do the people want, right? But how are you going to get to the point of what they want if you don't know what you want? Right? Everybody has a niche. Once you find your niche, you will find your audience. And that's the one thing that I've always wanted to make sure that was put to the forefront. Find out who you are. Because even for a long time, I didn't know who I was. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, what am I supposed to be doing? I come from, you know, and this is just so people have an understanding. And I'm telling you, I've never really shared this out in open, but I think this is the perfect forum because other creatives I know have gone through something similar and can probably relate. But I come from a situation where I wasn't raised by mom and dad, right? I was handed over to her mom and her stepdad.
I can relate.
And it's one of those things where, you know, you're trying to find yourself. Who am I?
Yeah, who am I?
You know, what's the saying? You can't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been.
Right.
I didn't know where I've been. I didn't know the historical background of the family. I didn't know a lot of things. So there was a lot of loss and confusion in my life of what I wanted to be, a lot of, you know, distractions. But as I started to find myself through having the opportunities to learn how to control, you know, a certain level of emotion, right? Because that's another thing with creatives, we're passionate. And sometimes too passionate.
Yeah.
And
that's true. That's true.
And it's one of those things where once I started to figure that out, it's like, okay, how do I want to be perceived? How I want people to see me? Then once that happens, then other people will word of mouth, and then they'll turn into my business cards. They'll turn into the people who see what I have to offer and say, I want that. Because not everybody's going to want what I have. And I respect that. I get that. The world is big, it's vast. There's so many things out there. But the idea is that there's a market for me. There's a market for what I'm thinking of. And it went from me being a graphic designer. I was doing the graphic work, enjoying it. But the one thing I could not stand, which was a big pet peeve, horrible photos.
Yeah.
Horrible. And that's not to say that the photographers themselves were bad, but they were picking people that weren't in the space. Why would you hire a photographer who does ballets and concert shows for, you know, orchestras, right, to do a photo shoot for a rapper?
No.
Yeah, no.
That doesn't make any sense.
At all. Not the right gear, not the right lighting, not the right demographic, not the understanding of where they're from. Probably won't even go to where they're from.
And not the experience.
And not the experience. So that's one thing I was seeing. And then I said, okay, it's really about the visual of how you want people to perceive you. And that's how you break the mold of, you know, the stereotype. So that's where I started going, oh man, you talking about you want ice coming from your hands and all this other stuff? Cool. I need to take a picture of your hand. I need to take a picture of your face. I need to take a picture of this so I can have what I need to make the composite, right? And that's what started me on that. Oh, yo, Ben does really dope manipulation. He's the graphics guy, all of that. And then that's how I got into, well, I need to do the photography too. No disrespect to your mans, but if he just picked up a camera from Best Buy, he's not going to be the person to do the job. And
sure.
That's how I moved into the lane that I'm in now. But then once again, that still wasn't enough because I'm like, these artists don't see it. These companies do, but these artists don't see what they should be doing. So then I started putting myself in a space where I want to work with businesses. I want to see what businesses are doing on the back end. Because that does come from my background as well. One thing I can say about living in the household that I was in you know, my grandmother was about maintaining a job, being at a job for a duration of time and having that stability. And that's what I learned from that side of the family. So I was working for like, you know, Amazon, Microsoft, all those places, and being able to kind of build, you know, myself on that side on autopilot because creative, you know, I'm doing this because I have to. Not really because I want to. And then that turned into me taking what I've learned in those businesses and then working with other businesses through a creative space and taking the small businesses that nobody's paying attention to. Great analogy for the community watching would be, you know, you work for a big brand, whoop-de-doo, multi-million-dollar company. You're dripping a bucket, dry bucket at that.
Sure.
Right? You're unless you're sitting at the top of the table, the creative that you build for them is great for you, but it does nothing for them because they're churning out content every day, every other hour.
So not to like break where you're going with this, but you touched on something really good. Like you working at Microsoft, right? And holding that down, keeping the stability. You're learning a lot of things on the tech end with computers, you know, gaming, everything that Microsoft's had. And you had a great position, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know you know what I'm saying? You were in that. But the thing is, just like for a creative, sometimes like they get discouraged because they feel like, oh, I got the job and I'm not being able to like put full-time effort into my creative work. You know, what was you thinking about before you left Microsoft and really went full-time to create?
Was I thinking about?
Yeah, what was you thinking about like during that process? Because that's the thing, sometimes people are like
balancing the risk out.
Yeah, balance the risk, right, for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, the funny thing, I mean, most people say this all the time and say that's a great question, but I would say that is one of the greatest questions to ask a creative because for myself, all I was thinking was I don't want to let my wife and my kids down.
Right.
If I leave and things don't pan out, I'm a failure.
Right.
Right. Not just as a man, but somebody who had these ideas of what I was going to be in life because I finally found something not only that I was good at, but I was proud of. It made me feel like I had, you know, some type of kind of a badge of honor, like a shield. Like I'm willing to walk out there now because I found out who I am and what I bring to the table. That was on my mind. I'm like, I'm scared. You know.
Talk about it, because that's the thing. A lot of people won't pretend. They'll pretend like they weren't scared. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's okay to be scared. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're walking away from stability. You know what I mean? And when you're married and you got kids, you know, they're counting on you, like you said. So it's just like, am I strong enough to like do this? You know. One thing I think for you too, you also had a good supporting cast from us, you know, like, you know, and like, and just being encouraging, you know, I always encouraged you, like, yo,
you was like, Ben,
you can do it.
That. Yeah, you don't need that.
Because I could see people, us doing these jobs and working with like other graphic designers and other photographers on set, and I'm like, yo, Ben can do this full time. These guys don't even have the knowledge, the resume, the talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've seen it too, right?
Ben by far is one of the most superior creatives that I've ever met.
I'm humbled, man.
It's just crazy to see where he's come from up to now. And I mean, even to touch on him leaving the job, I think a point to pay attention to is if you are in a 9-to-5, this is something I could definitely say about Ben is an amazing salesman. And working in Microsoft, you know, I would see how he would interact with the customer, and he took his sales knowledge from where he came from and also implemented it into his creative business as well, dealing with his customers through there, how to approach, how to talk, how to make people feel comfortable and break things down. So I would say, you know, not to speak for Ben, but when you're in your 9-to-5, leaving from there, like I'm sure there's something from your 9-to-5 that you can take with you into your next part of your creative journey.
To add on to that, I mean, that's the one thing that I would say, if anybody, you know, can sit through all of my rambling, is the key thing to take from this is that those jobs are teaching you how to run your own business.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
You're just doing it for them.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. The maintenance, the understanding of the framing of timing and because once again, as a creative, I'm gonna be completely honest, and I think everybody needs to be honest with themselves. When you're creative, management and time management and being able to do all these things with a business are hard.
Yes.
Because you're so focused on being creative and getting yourself out there. All of the small, minute things that we overlook that are some of the most important things with being a creative and being able to build and put yourself out there, I was failing at. I was making mistakes. You know, I wouldn't say that I didn't learn from them because I needed those to become a better person and to push that information. But some things I can look back and say, I wish I would have knew better. But now I go by philosophy. A wise man knows that he knows nothing. I'm going to walk into something as if I know nothing. I want to learn. I want to ask as many questions as possible. Now, when I'm even asking questions in certain emails, I'm like, listen, I apologize in advance. This might sound like an off question, but X, Y, and Z. And I might even list those questions out. You know, I need to know because I don't know. So instead of me assuming that I know and making mistakes and causing, certain failures that could have been avoided, I realized that's what the businesses do. Right? They put aside certain budgets if something fails. Right? They have a different plan. Another thing that we talked about, the 30, 60, 90. These businesses do 30, 60, 90. What are we doing in the next 3 months? What does it look like after 30 days, after 60, after 90 days? Per quarter, what are we doing? What's the projections for next year? They're thinking about next year before it comes.
Yeah, what's the ROI? What's the return investment?
Yes.
What are you getting out of all this?
Absolutely. And if we as creative, so it was funny. One of those coaches online said something, and it was funny because usually they save that stuff for their classes and stuff. But the one thing he said was, I don't care how talented you are. The person who knows how to run their business is going to get all the jobs.
Yeah,
they don't have to be as good as you.
Yeah, that's true.
And honestly, let's be real. We see it day in and day out.
Yeah, there's a lot of creatives got jobs not because of their talent, but just how their business manage, what they can manage.
Absolutely.
Life is all about management. You know, even how I say about God, and like God's only give you what you. God is only gonna give you what you can manage. You know what I mean? So just like in any situation, you got to be able to manage things. And being a creative, what you just said in the beginning, you're gonna mismanage a lot of shit.
Absolutely.
You're gonna mismanage everything. Because things are coming at you fast, and then like in your situation, like you think about also working the 9 to 5 and also being a creative. So you got to manage the 9 to 5 shit and you got to manage the creative shit. So something's gonna lack.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you can't make the job lack,
right?
Because you get fired and then the money's gone.
Money's gone.
So you got to really stay focused in that and kind of put that in that priority. I say this to you. Do you believe in the creative space right now that we're in, that to be the best creator, do you think you can hold down a 9 to 5 and be in the creative space now that you're fully in this thing?
I'm gonna answer that 2 ways.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you both perspectives. Me thinking back to when I was in that position and to now. When I was in that position, it felt like it, but it was an absolute no. Because just to add on to what you were saying, not only was I working full time, with sometimes a changing shift schedule.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember the shift schedule.
But then on top of that, trying to in the morning before work, after work, being up 2, 3 in the morning, knowing I need to get some sleep. Then on top of that, being a father, right? My wife was working crazy weird hours as well because of the position that she had. So I was the one that was dropping the young ones off to school or picking them up. So now I got to try to do this work, get the babies dressed, get everything going, get them to school, get to work, use my lunchtime to do business, use my 15-minute breaks to do business.
Yeah.
Then as I'm leaving, I'm taking phone calls to get to the car to go pick my child up before they try to charge an extra $100 for being 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
To then get home and try to send off files that I promised that would be there at a specific time.
Yeah.
Right? To then have my wife say, yo, what did you do all day? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what they're not doing.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember times calling you up, yo, I got you. I'll send it on my lunch break. I'm working on it on my lunch break. I'm taking my 15. I'll call you. Come to the shop. I'll give it. Like, I know them days where I was like, it's like, man, I used to say, like, Ben just got quit, man.
Yeah.
You. But now, go back to the second part now. Like, you said, yeah. So
now looking at it after being in that, with the knowledge I know now, if I had it then, it would have probably been manageable, right? Because now I realize, oh, here's another thing. Okay, to add on to that, before I get into that full answer, what I missed to say in this whole part of our conversation, my biggest failure for myself that I learned was stop saying yes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was my biggest failure.
saying yes. Say no. Say no. It's okay to say no.
Yes, it's okay to say no, because the project might not be right for you, the client may not be right for you. But my problem was I wanted to be a people pleaser. Mm-hmm. I was always thinking about making sure that the family was fed, making sure that I always had gas in the tank. Because there were times where, and everybody knows this, even before some of the successful things we've all been able to do. And speaking just for myself, I know the times where I had only $5 in the tank.
yeah.
Right? Now, a lot of people would look at me and be like, oh, you know, and I had somebody say to me, man, you ain't never been through nothing. I'm like, my guy.
Yeah, no, we all been through the mud.
You don't know half
We've been through the mud.
Right.
There's been crying days, me calling you, you calling me.
Yeah,
there's been times, there's been a lot of sacrifices, a lot of losses.
Man, you know, and these are the things I think that people try to shy away from because they want to save face and stuff like that. But if I genuinely care about the community, not only for Delaware, but in creatives in general, I'm going to tell you the failures.
Yeah, for sure.
How can I help you learn, or if you look, and I didn't know this, right? I'm sorry, I'm getting hyped, so my brain is moving a lot. How can you know that people either look up to you, aspire to be like you, admire what you do, follow what you do, right? And then you're perfect.
No, that don't work. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. You can't be perfect.
You can't be perfect.
Can't be perfect.
Yeah, it's too much to manage to do that.
No,
then you
can stay on a path to like working towards greatness and being trying to be the best version that you can be.
Absolutely.
But there's gonna be valleys and peaks with all that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, you just gotta. It's the thing, that's why I said in the beginning, the mindset that you kept moving forward. Like everything that I'm hearing, you've always moved forward.
Yeah.
A lot of people quit. A lot of people take these things and these losses and just say, I can't do this. I need to go back to the 9 to 5. Yeah. Money's not coming in as it used to. You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to do? You start to panic.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. Bills start adding up. You start crunching. You know what I mean? Now you pulling out your credit card, putting everything on your credit card.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
especially the unexpected things.
Unexpected things that happen. Yeah. You got a family.
Yes.
You know, like.
Oh, but let me add this to this as well. This is another thing that most creatives in general have to experience as well. They sacrifice certain parts of their career, their future, their creativity, their capabilities, their passions for their family.
Yes.
Whether it be wife and kids, whether it be mother and father, uncles, aunts, adopted parents, adopted family members, they say, you know what? They're more important than what I need or what I want or what I think I could be. Yeah. And there's a lot of people who have given up on careers of if they wouldn't have stopped, they don't know where they would have been. Sure. And I was almost one of those people. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, I might have to get a second job, you know, because once again, here's another thing that most people don't know. When you're working with certain labels and certain companies and stuff like that, you know, there's nets.
Yeah, the nets.
Net 30, net 45, net 60.
It'd be annoying.
Yeah. You're doing the work. If they approve the work, you get paid 45 days after.
Yeah, and bills don't stop. Bills gotta be paid every month. Shit, nowadays with subscriptions, bills gotta be paid every week or so.
Every week, yes.
Who knows? You know what I mean?
I be paying Verizon ahead of time. They be sending me notices. Hey, your bill's due 2.5 weeks before it's due.
Yeah,
like they're on it now. Yeah. So it's one of those things where you start to say, you know what, I may have to make that sacrifice. But then what I realized that I feel like a lot of people didn't realize is that the amount of time I'm giving to another business, I could be using that to build up where I'm trying to go to make the money I think that I'm going to lose. That's what it really came down to. And this is just an example. This is an example. You know, would you rather work 9 hours? And I say 9 hours because they say you work 8 hours, but let's put it in perspective. Most jobs give you a 30-minute break. I'm sorry, 30-minute lunch, 15-minute breaks. Right? It comes to an hour. Right? If you total that in, and plus another 15 to 30 minutes getting to work, leaving.
Exactly. I was just about to
right? You're getting there.
You're almost a 10-hour shift.
Yep.
Right?
Getting there.
And you're getting, let's be modest, $9, $10 an hour. Because there's a lot of people who are still in the creative space that might be only making that and then have 2 jobs while trying to do it. Would you rather spend almost 10 hours of your time getting only paid for 8 of those hours, potentially $10 before tax?
Facts.
Right? Or would you rather spend 5 to 6 of those hours to potentially get a gig where you can get paid $300 for 2 hours?
Exactly.
When you put it in that perspective, the game changes.
Absolutely.
Because I invested the time into myself. These big corporations and companies, they have teams of people that do that round the clock.
Yep.
Right? 9 to 5, right? Sometimes grave shifts, but then they also have those people who work from home remotely and they just work around the clock. So the other divisions can do what they want.
For sure.
With you as a creative, you don't have that. So you have to find a way to do it. But if I tell myself, okay, I'm gonna post this, I'm gonna create this, I'm gonna go to these local functions, even if I don't meet anybody yet. Oh, there's an event going on 2 states from me. I don't know anybody there. Let me start putting my name out there.
Yeah.
Let me go meet people there. Funny thing is, that was my goal. And you know, we had these conversations, and I felt you did the same thing because of your background, right? I don't know anybody in Chicago. I don't know anybody in Manhattan. I need to make that happen. I'm gonna just go up there.
Yeah. It was a mindset to know every person, to know every creative almost in every state, every part of somewhere, just so when you go there, or even if it wasn't for you, to connect it with the dots of somebody else. Like you go to Chicago, I got a guy in Chicago you may be able to link up with, y'all might be able to do some business.
Boom.
The power create, collaborating.
Exactly.
Swinging into that, how do you feel about collaborating with other creatives?
It's a must.
Yeah.
It's a necessity. You can be the greatest at what you do. That doesn't mean you're great at everything. There's going to be other people around you that are great as well.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to access that type of power?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Think about this. And some people may not understand this, but within a lot of Greek mythology, what happens? A lot of the gods are great at everything they do. They can't interfere in human affairs.
Yeah.
So they call on a demigod, half god, or even humans to step up to the plate to fix something they're not allowed to do. So if we even believe in the Greek mythology and even believe that that's true, if a god is going to ask for help from a human, why wouldn't I, as a creative, ask for help from a videographer?
Yeah, another creative. You know,
well, what I wanted to touch on to the last point that we were talking about, as far as leaving your 9 to 5 to get into a full-time gig with your creativity. One, not to trade God-given talent for stability and paycheck. When you're going to go work a 9 to 5, that's going to teach you a skill set. They're going to train you on the job. You're going to trade that for something you are already blessed with that only you can understand. Like as a creative, you know what I'm saying? There's a reason why we're creatives and other people aren't. No shade to people who aren't.
Right.
But we get things that other people don't get. We have this intuitiveness about how we operate with understanding how to blend this with that. Oh, I can, like you said, I can take his hand, put the ice around it, make it do this. A lot of people can't think in those steps, or even with me as a music producer, like understanding how sound works, like matching a vibe together.
Yes.
But to be on topic with collaborating with other creatives, I think an important step before stepping out of your 9 to 5 to become a full-time creative is on your free time actually reaching out to people who could be mentors to teach you lessons and systems before you step full-time. Because once you step in full-time, the beauty I think about being full-time as a creative, right, is then you are fully indulged to understanding the processes of being a business person, being a full-time And that comes with a lot of hiccups,
Yes.
a lot of growing pains.
Yeah.
So I would say try to minimize the growing pains while you're in your 9 to 5 before stepping out to a full-time creative, because at least with the 9 to 5, you have stability and you're still doing some side gigs, but use your time to learn the systems and prepare yourself for systems and the hiccups. Like call someone you know, like, yo, how's this work? How's this? What am I going to be up against? Because once you step out as a full-time creative, there's going to be times you're going to fall on your face. There's times you're going to undersell yourself. You're going to get taken advantage of because you have you're out in the field with no experience at all. But that's just my 2 cents.
I mean, the thing is, like, let's take real life situations. Like, we're here being honest. Like, you know, when you were working your 9 to 5, I was calling you like, yo, here's a job opportunity. Here's something. You know, me and you talked about, like, you told me, yo, Jet, to me go full time, I need to be able to make this amount of dollars a month. And I was like, okay, bet. So my thought process is like, well, I want to see my man in that situation. How can I create opportunity to get him there? Even if I don't get him there, even if I can get him somewhat closer to that, the rest he'll figure it out on his own. So I just always just figured that out. If the goal was, this wasn't the real number, like you needed $8,000 a month, I'm thinking like, well, if I can at least get him 4, that's at least a halfway step where he'll feel comfortable in his mind to be like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. You know, and like, and I think that's where watching your process of getting out of that and going into this world, it was through the collaborations. It was through the collaborations of working with us, the people in our community, or just a bunch of different creatives. And then it was just like, oh shit, I'm out the hole. Like I climbed up this rope from here, jumped on this person's rope. Okay, we collabed. This guy threw me a rope over here. Okay, cool. I you know what? I see a path that I could walk on the rocks and pull myself up a couple pieces. Boom. You know what I mean? Like you used every damn fucking resource you could to get up out the hole to be able to be like, all right, now I'm out here. You know what I mean?
Well, guess what we equated to? And of course, we try to get away from certain tropes and things of that nature. But this was, in the beginning, considered like getting into the drug game.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't know what you're doing. You're getting into something that could be very risky in so many different facets. But what other choices do you have?
Yeah.
Like that's how it started. And, you know, the blessing is, first off, it was legal.
Yeah.
But the real blessing behind all of it is you had room to grow. If you made mistakes, you could grow. You could move forward. It was one of those things where you could pick yourself up and pick yourself up. Matter of fact, E.T. the hip hop preacher has said this in one of his videos. He says, "Why cry to give up when you can cry to keep going? You're already crying. You're already going through the process and the pain. Fight through the pain and keep moving forward. Like, what else do you have to do? Why are you gonna just stop?
No pain, no gain."
Facts. And I mean, it's been a lot of pain. But to add to what you were saying as well, one of the things that I realized with working with a lot of different people, let me get my thought together. I realized involuntarily, I don't mind being selfless. In the beginning, it was put your name on everything. Do this. As a graphic designer, put your name out, right? Didn't know about branding at the time, right? I was learning things about that nature, but I didn't know. But what happened was I realized, oh, I see how he's moving. I don't move like that. I got to fix this and fix that. Oh, I see how she's moving. That's dope. I need to fix this. I need to fix that. What happens is in our creative space, everybody thinks that they're great off the rip.
Yeah.
And then they get into a room with the cats and the big boys and the big girls.
Yeah.
And they realize,
it's a different ball game here. It's a different level.
I'm a clownfish in a shark pool. Wait a minute.
Yeah. It's a different type of mentality going on in here.
Whoa, I thought I knew and I didn't. And that's another conversation I have with a lot of other creatives that do ask me those questions just for advice. And I tell them, when you're around other people, look at their mannerisms. See how they carry themselves. Ask them about what they do. Just because they're not doing what you do doesn't mean you can't learn from them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, a lot of creatives are also, and maybe you can touch on this, a lot of creators are in a rush, right? To be in a spot, to be in, as I always say, because I look at it as a sports thing and like the starting five, like so many creators shouldn't be, they don't think about like, damn, should be happy I'm on the team. You know what I mean? Let me take these first three years, not get in the game and get an injury and get out there and push myself because I don't maybe belong in the starting five yet. You know what I mean? Like, because they'll, I've worked with creators I bring in, and then next thing you know, they're like thinking like, yo, I should be touching the camera, I should be doing this. Nah, you should just be watching how, like, observing, watching how we move. Like, a lot of people don't know, like, we would just take, when, say you get an opportunity, I get an opportunity, he get an opportunity, like, we would bring the crew with us just so they could see what was going on. And so they could just observe. And, like, anytime I got a big music video, I'm like, yo, come, just to see what's going on. Like, just to see how these people moving so you can move like that. Because you got to know the game. You can't just, like just jump in like, yo, Jet, why ain't you put me?
They want spotlight.
Yeah. Like, I want to be the starting guy. I want to be the guy. And, like, we've never had that.
Right.
I think of all the years, like I've never had a problem where you were like, if the light was on me, it wasn't like you was trying to push me out the way to say, listen, I need people to know who I am too, nigga.
Facts. If anything, put the light back on him.
Yeah. You guys, and I want to put this on camera, like that. You guys always given me the space to be who I am and allow me to flourish as Jet Phynx, and then also contribute so much to my success and to Jet Phynx Films. You know what I mean? Like, when they just saw it was the logo, they didn't see anything else behind it. You know what I mean? And that's one thing why people never ever saw my videos ever say just directed by Jet Phynx and it just no logo or nothing. Because I always wanted people to know it was a collective. Yeah. This was a collective thought. We did this together. Right. I didn't do this by myself. Right. And I wouldn't be, like I said, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for the contribute to you guys, because especially you two, because a lot of people on the team do a lot of other things. Right. Mm-hmm. But you guys actually help in the process of making the content. Mm-hmm. If there's a project, I'm not going back. I wanted you to touch on this because I don't want to talk too much on this, but going back to the thing, like, if somebody asked me to do a photo shoot for them, I'm like, nah, Ben can do it. Mm-hmm. Because even though I can take a photo, like, as a creator, for me, like, when I created Jet Phynx Films, I modeled it off of the A-Team. You know what I mean? It's an old TV show, if you don't know. It's the A-Team, like 5 guys that all did different things. Everybody had their own superpowers. It's almost like the Avengers. How about that? I'll just say, we got the Avengers. I'm looking at, like, he's got his superpowers, he's got his, I got mine, this person has this. And together, we the Avengers, and this is how we crush shit. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. So I see that, it was just like, how can we do that? Regardless if I was Iron Man or Superman, whoever it was in the fold, as you could clearly see in any Avengers, you need your team. You know what I mean? Facts, yeah. You need team. So I encourage, like, what was the thing about you playing a part of a team too? Because that's something a lot of people don't realize. You being, like I said, your own superhero. That's like, you like Batman, and if you Batman, I'm Superman, we still on another level, you know what I'm saying? Like, he Iron Man, and we out here fucking shit up, but it's like, we all have our own thing, but when we come together, it's like, it doesn't matter who has the shine.
Oh, facts. I mean, to really give my thought process condensed would be, if Jet looks good, I look good.
Facts.
If the project looks good because I did my part, we'll be welcome back.
Facts.
Yeah.
If Jet's welcome back, I'm welcome back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was my thought process. And honestly, with anything that was brought on, because we want people to understand that even you've worked with other people on other projects. They've called you in to do certain things, to direct, to film, right? To even down to the point where they're like, hey, we want to see an idea for this project. You create a mood board.
Yeah.
Like, you still played a big role.
Yeah.
Like, you got it off the ground. So that's always been my thought process. If somebody wants me to be a part of something, all I'm gonna do is play my role.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play my part.
Yeah.
Great example. If you studied anything about war, looking at chess, looking at how kings think and things of that nature, do they always send their best men out first?
Yeah. No. Yeah, right.
They don't. There are people who are willing to sacrifice themselves to see if it's a trap, to see how many flying arrows are going to come back.
You throw the pawns out there.
To see how many of those ditches have full with spikes and alligators and whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. Right.
Like that's the mindset. But those people were willing to do it because they understood that they played a bigger role in what history was going to be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They knew that they were sacrificing their lives from their families and their wives and all of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they knew that their names may be written in history because they're playing their role.
Yep. Yeah. Because they knew if the king win, it wasn't in vain. It wasn't like
in vain.
We did it. And this is how what they say, like, I might be fucking this up. History's written by the victor.
Yeah. History's written by the winners. Yeah.
By the winners, for real. You know what I'm saying? So like,
said it right.
So like for real. So it's like if we win, we all win. You know, like I want to make you look good. I want to make you look good. So it's just like any person that we connect ourselves, it's about making the collective look great.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I understood that a long time ago, but it wasn't for me just to understand. You guys had to understand it. And I can't, that's nothing you can force on somebody.
No.
You can't force that part. Right. The person, you have to be able to. So that means you have to also surround yourself with like-minded people who can understand their position and their role and what they're here to do. Yeah. You know, that's what made our relationship, we got over 18 years together.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you know, the odds over 10, you know what I mean? Like, this ain't like it just happened yesterday. Right. You know what I mean? But the thing was, what made it so easy is that your mindsets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's never been a bickering like, hey, I need this, I need that. You know, it was all about how can we win?
Yeah.
And then there was times that I'm gonna keep it a funky bean. It wasn't always about the bread.
True. No, that's very true.
You know what I mean? It was just like, how can we make this look good?
Yeah.
Let's spec job. Can we go out, shoot together, and make it happen for ourselves?
Yeah.
Yo, Benny, look, I got this crazy idea. I need your help with this. Oh, I'm in. I got you.
Word.
The analogy I can say is we were manufacturing a big hook to catch a big whale.
Yeah.
Instead of all of us having tiny hooks in individually.
Exactly.
To pull in tiny shit, we'd catch something that we could eat off forever.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, another cool analogy to add on to that, it would be like rowers. If they're in unison, that boat gonna move fast.
Oh, that boat gonna move fast, bro.
But here's the beautiful part: if somebody does fall out, other people can take the slack.
Yeah.
The boat can keep moving. It might not move as fast as it was, but it can keep moving.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And everybody understood their role in that position. If I don't row, we don't move.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And if you have that mindset, like, you can do anything. And you know what really reinforced that? I had an opportunity to do a project out in Atlanta, and I was on set, and it was like maybe 80, 90 people out there. And I ended up talking to the lead PA, and we're talking. And I'm like, yeah, so is this what you do full time? He says, no, I'm originally a director, and sometimes I executive produce for projects. He's like, yeah, I'm working on a movie right now with a $1.5 million budget. And I'm like, but you're here to be the PA? He's like, yeah, I just love supporting and being a part of stuff. It's in my backyard. When I tell you, that's not only solidified my thought process, but also humbled me even more. Because I would be poking my chest out. I got a $1.5 million budget for a movie?
Yeah.
You can't talk to me.
No, I'm definitely not doing PA, but it didn't make sense. You're supposed to.
Yeah, but this is somebody who saw the bigger picture for the project and just wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
Even though it has a monumental project in the making that they're working on.
It's the purpose. The purpose is that's what they love to do. You know, cut into our last two segments of this. This is a pick or pick. You know, we talk equipment, pick a pick.
Okay.
So, you're a camera guy. So let's bring into the, the equipment. We got to talk about the equipment because you have spent a lot of money on equipment, I know of. Yeah, bags on bags on bags.
I have aggressively invested.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's necessary.
It's necessary. No, for the job, for sure. So, all right. On that note, what's one of the most expensive pieces of equipment you ever bought? You don't have to give the price, but brand, name. Because we know you love B&H. I know you. I know you. We go in there like we going into Saks Fifth buying clothes.
Oh, they expedite for Ben.
Yeah. We go in there like Saks Fifth. Come on.
I would say my Fujifilm GFX 100.
Okay.
That would, I would say, but two ways of expensive. Of course, in cost, right? But sweat equity that was put into being able to obtain.
It's all
for what I saw for the future.
Yeah, for sure. It's all great investments. This equipment, what people don't understand, equipment has so much value.
Yeah.
It's probably the highest in value when you buy anything because it can resell for whatever. As long as you keep it nice, clean, people are going to buy it. You know what I mean? Like you can buy a camera today, let's just say $10,000 and still get it off for 10. You know what I mean? It might even get it off more because of who you are.
True.
Because somebody might buy it from you like, yo, Benni Black, that's Benny's camera.
Yeah,
that's
a good
mean?
point.
Like I might pay 15 for that. You know what I mean? Like,
but I'm gonna tell you the true value of why I bought that camera. Hopefully this can help somebody with any pieces of equipment. I was thinking of the future of the clients and what they're not thinking about. Here's one thing I've always heard with photography.
That's that forward thinking.
Yeah.
I will tell you.
Hey, is there any way we can get that arm back in that photo? I'm sorry, that's the way your photographer took it. We can't get that back. Like they took it where it's so cropped in. That I can't add pixels to an image that's already where it's at. Is there any way we could add more sky to that? I mean, we can Photoshop it, but it's not going to be what you're looking for because the way that sky is shown, finding something like that is going to take more time, more money, things of the nature to build that out. I wish he would have, took more space. And that came to me, and I thought medium format. The idea is not to just take the photo as is, but have the capability to play around with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I found out with a lot of the companies and the bigger companies I started working with, why they love medium format. Because,
real quick, before you jump off on that, what is medium format?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Real quick.
So medium format is actually the larger print scale sensor. So what happens is you have APS-C, which is like the really small sensors. Yes, crop sensor. Yep. Then you have your full frame, right? Because that which pretty much everybody uses in their Canons, some of their Sonys, Nikons.
That's your average. That's your average camera.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then the medium format, think of 4 times the size of your full frame.
Yeah.
What it does is it allows for more data, more information, more color array. I mean, just so much more capability.
We're talking billboard stuff.
Yeah.
Blown up, big up pictures.
I mean, even and this is the thing that most people forget about, even bigger than billboard. We're talking, the side of a 20-story building.
Yeah.
You can do a print that big and it still has
clean, super clean.
Yeah. And that was a big thing back in the day. But even now, for anybody who loves to go shopping, when you go into Champs and when you go into the JCPenney's, Macy's, when you go into Foot Locker, all of them, look at the photography, and you'll sometimes see one hero shot, which is the primary image for the product, clothing, or person, and you see it here elongated. Then you walk further, you see it widened out above the rack of the clothes. Then you see a really, really big square version hanging from the ceiling of that same image, cropped multiple ways. That's medium format because you can be able to move that one image in so many different ways. What I did for one image that I had to do for a retail store, I had to make almost 50 different versions of that one image in the crops that they needed for stores across the United States.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why the medium format feature thinking, as you were saying, it made sense for me. I know that this is going to be a need for somebody. That's the niche I want to go into. And lo and behold, here I am.
Was your first medium format the Hasselblad?
Yes.
Remember, you used the Hasselblad to take the photos for the graphic of corners.
Yeah,
That was
absolutely.
the first.
I think you just got the
Just
camera.
got it.
Just got the camera. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ben also did the cover. I mean, well, y'all should already know. Anything that I'm creating, we creating, these guys are on it. Like, we don't outsource anything to nobody else. Any graphics you ever seen of Jet Phynx in the last 10, 15 years just came from one of us three. So it's like, it ain't went nowhere else. But touching on that, so here, I'm gonna throw some real quick things at you.
Yeah.
Canon or an Icon?
I've never owned or used the Canon like that. I think I used one once, so Nikon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Respectable. You got one for me?
What is your favorite type of photography to do?
Oh, wow.
If you're stuck on an island for 3 months, you can only do one type of photography that whole time. But you got everything. You got your city, but you just secluded.
But then also add to what he's saying. You only got one camera and one lens. What are you choosing?
Oh, okay. One type of photography, it would be black and white portraits.
Okay.
You can't go wrong with black and white portraits.
It's timeless. It's always going to be there.
And you're always going to find something new in the image.
Yep.
There's been times where I've looked at a black and white image and I go back to it and I'm like, matter of fact, it happened to me the other day. I was looking on my hard drive and I saw some images I ain't seen in almost 5-6 years. And I'm like, I can't believe I almost deleted these.
Yeah.
These are actually good. I thought they were trash back then.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with, certain producers. You know, a producer be like, yo, that beat was fire. They wake up and play and it's like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
So it's the reverse for me. It's like, I almost deleted all of the, almost 2 gigs worth of photos, almost deleted because I thought they weren't good. But by having a new perspective, thought process, oh, wow. Let me put some boomification on that with the contrast. Oh, that's beautiful. So yeah, black and white portraits.
Now, camera. What camera and lens? You on the island, you only can choose one to go on the island. Stuck on there with.
Oh, okay. So this brings up a good question. Do I have electricity?
You have everything you need to get the job done.
Get the job done. Any camera in the world, any lens, anything in the world.
You can only take one.
I would say the Hasselblad X907.
Okay.
Just because it gives you that old school feel of where the film cameras came from.
Okay.
It's still medium format, but it's fun to use. Understood. Like there's just some cameras out there that are just fun to use. You don't need it. It's just fun. And I got a chance to put my hands on that thing. And I said, that's my next big purchase when the time comes. And I'll use that for passion projects or fun projects. That's what I use that for.
But now, what kind of lens what kind of lens you strapping?
Easy, 80 mil.
80 mil.
80 mil.
80 mil.
I need you to feel the intimacy of the person, right? So I want the background to fall off the person. Right, not fully blurred out, right? But you get the essence of where they are, but you're looking at the individual.
Butter.
Yeah.
Butter.
Yeah, man.
That's what I always say about your shots. You always bring them butter shots. So let me think. One thing you can say to the creators, if you want advice, some type of advice, what would you give to these guys out here? You know what I mean? Like, tell it to the camera.
Okay. My one piece of advice. And I'll give a small explanation after it as well. I don't care if it's your mom or your dad, and they tell you it's not going to work out. Don't do it. If you believe you can do it and you're going to put the time and effort into doing it, do it. Because that's what I was told pretty much my whole life. You're wasting your time. This is not going anywhere. You just need to get a regular job. And for the most part, I listened to that, which I believe stifled where I could have been earlier if I would have believed in myself and really stuck to it and not played with it. But if you feel you can do it and you can make it work and make it happen, do it. Keep going. In that post that I put up there, I really meant that genuinely. There are people who think the Mona Lisa is not worth the value that of $750 million. There are people who believe that Basquiat's work is just kid scribbles.
Yeah, talk about it. For sure.
But I think one of his paintings sold for like $20 million.
Yeah, yep.
there's going to be people who will not believe in you, and that's okay. There's going to be people who don't like your work, and that's okay. There are people who don't like my work. That's the world we live in. Everybody has the capability to be subjective to what they like and what they don't like. But understand that you have a niche of individuals who are going to love what you do and will invest in you to see more of what you do because they believe in it. And lo and behold, I have an array of clients. I have an array of creatives that I work with who appreciate me and see what I do. Appreciate me and believe in what I do and see the best in me, right? Even when I don't see the best in myself. So I owe it to those people who believe in what I do, and you owe it to those people that believe in you. Even if it's one person, do it.
Look, definitely appreciate you, brother. Love to have you on again. There's so much more we can keep talking about, but I feel like this is so much to talk about. But this was definitely super dope. Anything you want to add?
Hey, that's Benni Black, and that's real talk.
Yeah, that's real talk. Episode 2.
Dirty.